jelly sprays. And
Fantastic.
no comment.
Welcome back to Fight Island. Do you keep asking for these assignments, or you just decide they're going to send you as far away from home as possible?
You know, Zach Candido really likes to keep me busy and keep me working, and I'm down for it. You know, it's fun once you get through the quarantine, right? I mean, once you go to Vegas, you quarantine in Vegas, you come here, you quarantine for 48 hours. The room that I'm in, I can't complain. I mean, I could do laps around my room if I had to. I certainly did them in the parking lot before we left the beautiful Holiday Inn Express in Las Vegas. So, you know, but now I'm out and I'm feeling a little less stir crazy, so things are good.
Yeah, I know everybody's excited to get back to work, and obviously it's kicking off with these great events. The big difference, right, is the fans back in the building. That's what I think everybody's excited about.
Yeah.
Does that do anything for me? Obviously, you've been in the center of the cage, you know, really soaking in. As a commentator, do you hear it? Do you feed off that at all? Or
Yeah.
is that silly to make that connection?
It's been so long since we've had it that it'll probably kind of catch me off guard a little bit to hear them responding and not just me and whoever I'm with screaming at the top of our lungs. It'll kind of muffle us a little bit, which helps us to kind of. I don't like it when the fighters can hear everything we're saying. They've got their job to do. They should be listening to their coaches. And I feel like once they put the plexiglass up, that did mute a little bit of hearing exactly what we were saying. I'm excited to have a crowd back. And if moving forward, if this is the only place that's going to have crowds, you're going to see a lot more fighters wanting to come here. They won't care about sleep deprivation. They'll want to come here to have that energy. It really does make a big difference for them. And yeah, I think it's fun for us. Everybody gets energized when there's people there.
I was gonna say, I feel like during this whole pandemic thing, like we tried to look at the positives of what we could. I think we needed it. You know what I mean? So we're like, oh no, it's great. You can hear the corner better.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but what do you think? I mean, you've been in there, right? You felt that adrenaline. You felt that sharpness. I mean, now that we've kind of got two options, and we'll probably be seeing a little bit of everything. I mean, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing that when fans aren't there?
Come on. I mean, we don't want to not have fans, right? I mean, will we deal with it? Yeah. Will we press forward? We did. And that's what Dana and the UFC kind of were the first ones. You know, he got us out there. He got us working. He got fights on TV and, you know, held up his end of the deal. And it was interesting. It was a little experiment. We all found cool things to pick out of it, hearing the shots more, hearing the corners. But at the end of the day, we want to go back to having that crowd, you know what I mean? We want that energy in there. And having fought in it, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it's an experience that I got to go through. But if you gave me two options, I'm picking the crowd every time. I need my brother in that audience. You know, I need him being nervous and half puking to make me feel calm as a fighter.
No question. Because I know we got to fight a lot of fights before we get to the pay-per-view, but you know we've got you here, so we got to ask you about the lightweight fights. You know, main and co-main. Let's start with the co-main. I mean, obviously. Chandler, a guy that I don't know that if you watched much of him before he came.
Yeah,
to the UFC,
of course I have. Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think? Obviously, he's in a big spot here. He's got a tough challenge, but I mean, he seems to be world class. I mean, what do you think about this matchup in the co-main?
Yeah, I mean, I do think he's world class, and I think he's gonna do fine. But I think having Dan Hooker as the debut is tough because there's a lot of other matchups, like he even said himself, that would have been a little bit easier for him because of the length, because of what Dan does so well. And Mike's a wrestler, and he's going to try to level change at some point. And Dan just times those knees so well. And I was able to avoid them when I fought him. Even Poirier was able to avoid most of them because we're a little taller. But I think he's only 5'8", 5'9", so he's down there for those knees. But he's so strong, his endurance. The guy works like a maniac. If you ever follow his Instagram, the strength and conditioning stuff that he does is pretty insane. So I think he's going to do fine. I don't see it being a quick finish. I think they're going to go to war, and I think it'll be a perfect test for him to kind of show, is he going to be ready for that title shot and moving forward up the ranks, or does he have to go back and start beating up some of the guys in the lower end of the top 10 or maybe even the top 15? Because I think there's plenty of guys that he will just be able to kind of roll through, but that top 5 is murderer's row, man.
Have you had a chance to talk to Michael Chandler yet?
Not in person, no.
But like Zoom or anything like that? Or?
No.
No?
No.
Well, I'm curious. So you haven't had a chance
I'm sure I will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you haven't had a chance to speak to him. But I wonder, I mean, this guy's been at the top level for another organization, right? But when you come into the UFC, even if it's not 20,000 people,
right,
it's still the UFC, right? I mean,
and he will have a crowd.
And he will have a crowd. So I mean, is this? We hear people, no, it doesn't bother me. A cage is a cage. I've been doing this forever. It's all the same. But what do you think? I mean, he seems like a pretty mentally strong guy overall. But,
Yeah.
I mean, is this going to be a difficult assignment no matter who the opponent is?
He's feeling it. No matter what he says, he's feeling it. It's not only because he's going to the UFC, right, but because you've come in as this hot prospect. You've come in as this former champion from Bellator, another organization that's, kind of trying to rival with us. And I think everybody knows that we've got the best guys in the world. There's just no question about it. I watch a lot of other fights. I watch other organizations, and I watch the guys that I compete next to, and we are the best in the world for sure. And I think he knows he's got a tall order, literally in front of him in Dan Hooker. But I think he'll fit in just fine, man. I think there's so many good matchups at lightweight that even if he takes an L in his first one, we've seen that happen to guys before too. We've seen that happen to Eddie Alvarez. He came in and he got thrown in there with Donald Cerrone, right? But look at what he did. Eventually became champion, knocked out RDA. So I think even if it's not a great showing this one, he'll get his bearings, but I do think there's going to be a lot of pressure, and I think he will be feeling that. And your first one is the Conor McGregor card. I mean, that's a lot for guys that are in the organization for years being on that kind of a pay-per-view, and now suddenly you're debuting on that in the co-main event. But if it goes well, can't ask for a better platform.
No doubt. And you mentioned Conor, so let's talk about McGregor and Poirier,
Yeah.
right? Like, obviously everybody's talking about where they've both progressed since they first met, right? But there's been a lot of discussion going into this about the mental side of it. Cormier has talked about it. I've heard Kavanaugh talking about it. I mean, it just seems like the mental. So what do you think? I mean, is focusing on the mental side of this key and breaking it down, or is that something that we in the media make too much out of? It's more about skills and development?
It's always about skills, but I think the mental part of this game is the most important part. At that level, with main event status, guys have held the belt, fought for the belt, you're good. Your skills are there. What sets you apart at that point, at that tippy top of these divisions, is your mental fortitude, your toughness, your durability. And we've seen Poirier show his heart recently. I mean, really put it on display in his fights. And Conor, I mean, we just see the way he's talking, the way he's training. He looks to be in the best shape of his life. He's taken that time. And for him to make the money he's gotten, the success he's gotten, to want to come back and still fight, I think shows where he's at mentally. So I can't wait. I really can't. I think if that can get out of the first round and we don't have a knockout, I think we're in for quite a battle between those two guys. But he says it's going to be 60 seconds. So I hope it's not. I want to see more than 60 seconds. But, I mean, with that left hand, it could be 20 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's exactly right. Last thing for me, obviously you've got some work to do here and things, but
Yeah.
when you see these high-level lightweight matchups and everybody talking about it, but you start thinking, where do I fit in there and what's next for me? I mean, are you painting yourself in this picture at all?
I mean, I'm always, you know me. I'm always down for whatever comes my way. We're still waiting to see right now, but obviously I'm still in the game. I'm still fighting. My back's up against the wall a little bit for myself and my career. I know there's some controversy behind one of my fights, and then the last one, obviously, I took on 5 days' notice, but it's still a loss. It's still 2 in a row. I think it's the second time that I've been on a 2-loss skid, and the last time I came back with a vengeance. So hopefully I can muster that up and get up there. But I'm not there yet. I can't throw my name into the top 5 with those guys quite yet, because you got to win a fight. You got to win a fight.
Are you commentating the UFC 227?
Yeah.
Are you expecting another middle finger?
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I was talking to my producer that, we're going to have to do fighter meetings, and hopefully we can get through that without any German comments.
I was going to say, you can ask him why he thinks you're German.
Well, my last name is German, right? My dad's side, I hate talking about this with people that aren't American, because I know I'm not Irish. I'm not German. I'm not Italian. I'm not Swedish. I'm American. I get that, okay? I also did not give myself the Irish Dragon nickname. As a matter of fact, I fought against it for the first few fights of my pro career because I freaking hated it. I thought it was stupid. It got put together because I did karate. Lyoto Machida was one of my favorite fighters, the Dragon. And then this guy was like, well, you're Irish, the Irish Dragon. And he started saying it on a YouTube video. CFFC got a hold of it when I was fighting for them. And they were like, they just called me that the one fight. And it stuck. So I'm not trying to claim any heritage and this and that. Obviously, I'm of Irish descent. You can take one look at me. You can also see the German in me and my better jawline than most of the Irish, but yeah, it's silly, and he's poked fun of me on social media and then deletes them, and it's just, I think he's just fucking with me, to be honest with you. He's like that. He's not an idiot, man. He'll poke at anybody in case you climb the ranks and you're next. He's already won a guy. He's like that.
Do you have any intention of asking him during the fight meeting, like, so why?
No, I know why, because I'm calling myself the Irish Dragon, and he's like, well, your last name is German, so what the hell are you talking about? So if I ever had to fight him, maybe I'd come out as the German Dragon for that one, just for fun. But yeah, but it's all good, and I don't think that's going to come up in fighter meetings, but we shall see.
After your last fight, even on the broadcast, it was clear that you just had this crazy motivation.
Yeah.
Based off your own performance. I know before that fight you kind of didn't know where you were.
Yeah.
Is the motivation still there, even like a.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can look at me. I'm staying really lean. I'm staying in shape, and I think the combination of finding something new to focus on for a while really motivated me again, and made me miss MMA, made me miss fighting. But with everything that's going on, it's still hard for me. It's still hard for me to trust going into gyms, and because I have all this work as a commentator too. So let's say I go into the gym, I catch COVID, and then I can't go and do my broadcast work, and then I make no money. A, I'm not fighting, and then B, I'm also not broadcasting. So I'm just being very careful at home, training mainly with Sean Brady, who's a UFC welterweight, who's going to be, in my opinion, top 10 this year coming up. He's got a fight March 6th, so I'm telling you guys, this kid is the strongest kid that I've ever trained with in my life. So keep an eye out for him. He's fighting Jake Matthews March 6th, so it's going to be one hell of a fight. So yeah, a lot of pad work, and then tons of triathlon training still. My foot's a little sore, so not so much running, but tons of bike and swimming. Yeah, I got a bike in my room with a trainer that this bike shop in Abu Dhabi hooked me up with through the guys at Zwift, which I've talked to you guys about before, which is like an online cycling running game that you basically, all your powers are registered, you're racing other people, and it's up in my room right now. So as soon as this is done, get an hour ride in today. So it's supposed to be 2.5 hours, but I've got obligations for work, so
Well, you're not the Nate Diaz mystery opponent.
No, man, my God. I've had so many people tag me and saying UFC in the works, Paul Felder versus Nate Diaz. I'm like, well, when are they going to call me and tell me about that? Because you want to talk about getting motivated and excited. I would absolutely love that fight. And like Hooker even said about it, I'll fight him 85, 205, doesn't matter. That's a fight you take. Nate's a legend at this point, I would love that fight. But no, that's just not me. I wish it was me.
Who do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean, I know Oliveira said he didn't want to fight Gaethje, right? He wants to wait. Maybe Justin. I have no inside information on this, by the way. But I don't know. I don't know who it would be. What do you guys think? It's not me, right? So we know that it's not me.
Our theory.
Yeah, I know. Did you guys think it was maybe me?
It was either you or Justin.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm thinking Justin, but if he slips on a banana peel and can't do it, I'd be down.
5 days.
Not a fucking. Listen, that was definitely a one-time thing. The moment was right. The stars lined up, and we took that one. But I even look back on it now, and I'm like, I would never do that. Like, I don't do that. Like, I'm a creature of habit when it comes to training camps and being diligent, getting my weight down, and yeah, let me go cut 25 pounds in a few days and then fight 5 rounds. It's not. Never again.
Were you surprised your post-fight speech became such like instant legend?
Yeah, I thought people were going to hate on me. I thought the guys on the card that missed weight were going to start coming at me. And I know Eric Anders actually reached out to Eric Nixick, who was coaching me that night, and he's like, man, Paul's making me feel bad about this. I'm like, good. Well, that's the whole point, right? I mean, you guys are all studs. Just you got to just learn how to. You suffer in the cage. You got to suffer during that weight cut too. It always sucks, and you also can't go tell doctors, "Hey, I feel sick." They're gonna send you to the hospital. You don't think I felt sick? I was dry heaving that whole night doing that weight cut. So it's like you got to keep certain things to yourself while you're cutting weight. Just bury it inside. It'll affect you later on. 20 years from now.
How did Dana convince you to take that on 5 days then? Tell us how that went.
Well, so when they called me, it was Sean talking to Brian Butler, my manager, and I was going back and forth with Brian, and he's like, listen, you have to give me an answer and be ready to back it up, because if I go to Sean and start negotiating for you, they're going to expect you. If they give you what you want, what are you going to do then? So, obviously it was a better financial deal than it normally would be. Nothing crazy, but it made my life a lot easier that night. And just more guaranteed money. You know what I mean? I knew I was showing up. I was going to get paid no matter what happened that night. And they know, I think, moving forward, the UFC knows if you're going to pay me, I'm going to show up no matter what. So you throw a little extra money my way, it's not like I'm going to go in there and coast. I'm going to go in there and try to fight and win the whole time. So it wasn't that hard of a negotiation, and I knew that if I could pull it off, it would be some legendary shit. You know what I mean? I thought about that. I thought about my legacy, but I also knew that if it was going to go bad, it was going to go real bad. You know, if I went out there, miss weight, and then RDA knocks me out in 30 seconds, I'm hiding in a cave for a few months.
You brought your stuff out here this time, then, I guess.
Huh?
You brought your gear with you this time.
I'm cutting weight just in case. No. Hopefully, God, I hope not.
I mean, moving forward from here, what's like left for you in terms of like the fighters that you're targeting? Because you talk about the top 5 being killers and stuff, but the next fight being crucial too.
Yeah.
So where does that kind of put you? You looking at the latter end of the top 10s maybe to push forward?
Yeah, anybody in the top 10, I think is somebody I would consider. But there's some guys up there too. You know, there's obviously Al, who's been out for a while, and I know he wants to come back, and we've been matched up a few times before. Who knows what Tony's going to do if Nate comes back and he doesn't get the fight that they're talking about. There's a lot of fun matchups, but yeah, I mean, I still want it to be in the rankings in a position where a win is going to set me up for an even bigger fight. So if I go down and fight number 15 or somebody out of the rankings, even a win, people are going to be like, oh, okay. And those guys are just as tough. It's just they don't have the number next to their name. But yeah, I need to go out there and perform in my next fight, and not worry about getting the top 2 guy, top 3 guys. It's not going to happen, first of all. And second of all, I need somebody that's in a similar position where they're going to go out and perform, and one of us will move forward and one of us will take a step back.
Ultimately, if you could have the apex, would it be maybe the McGregor fight, or would it be as like what would be the dream scenario for you to get to, or the title, I guess?
The title, for me, those big fights, and obviously the Conors and the Nates and all that, it's financially, I'll take that any day of the week too. But as far as goals, the only thing really missing, I've had 2 main events in 2020. That was a big goal of mine, right? It was to get on the poster, prove that, I've established myself as a marquee fighter. Done that. I'm a full-time commentator. I've done that. I've got a job with the UFC. I've kind of put myself out there. Now, the only thing that's really ever missing that I would kind of look back on my career and be a little sad is that if I never even had the opportunity to kind of put myself in that position for that title. And you guys have said it time and time again, the only reason that I stick around and take these shots and get beat up is to try to become the best. So that's, man, just to even get in there with that belt on the line would be, I could live with myself after that. I can live with myself no matter what. I've put it on the line every fight, but that would be like, I really accomplished something. And to win it, then we stick around and make some real money for a while, and I'll try to snipe off some low-hanging fruit if there's any out there. You gotta pull some. We've got some champions that have been able to pull that off. But in lightweight, I'm like, I'll take the number 13 guy. Let's give him a shot. Let's give him a shot. Paul, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Man earned my respect.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Going off the rankings and possibly fighting back and stuff, Michael Chandler said the only fighters that asked to fight him were you and Dan Hooker. Do you think people didn't want to fight him because he wasn't ranked, he's making his debut, and it's a risky fight?
Yeah. I mean, they know the challenge that he presents, and he doesn't have the ranking. So if you lose to him, he just takes your spot and you get knocked down, right? But for me, I just looked at it like, well, he's a pretty big name coming in, and he's had some absolute dog fights in the past. I like what that fight would have done, and I know my teammate Jared Gordon, my buddy, he's training with Mike down in Florida now, and he's like, please, just why are you asking for this fight? I was like, dude, I didn't know you guys were going to become friends in the last few months since you left, training at Duke's with me and started going down there. So he didn't want that fight at all. So I kept teasing him that I think it's going to happen, man. I think they're going to give me this fight. And he's like, what the fuck, man? So, but yeah, I liked what that would have done for me. I think that would have really set me up in the lightweight division if you take out a guy like Chandler. But yeah, I see why guys are a little reluctant to take that fight.
And where do you think Charles fits in all
Oh
this?
my God.
You were the last guy to beat him.
Listen, that win ages so well for me, doesn't it? I mean, I'm the last guy to beat it. Every time he fights and just absolutely smashes somebody, I'm like, I always put out a post of me elbowing him in the head and being like, Charles, congratulations, my man. That was a really, really good fight. And I have nothing but respect for Charles Oliveira and what he's doing. And I think he's really earned himself after that last win. You know, I don't know if he'll get the title shot like he wants, but he really does deserve to be fighting the next guy in line to get that shot. I can see why he would want to wait. But, man, I don't ever want to fight him again just because if you can walk away with that one right there, it's good. Because he almost subbed me badly in that fight, too, if you guys remember.
What have you made of his progression, in particular, in the last two fights? I mean, against Kevin Lee, his striking, he just looked as if it went to a completely different level.
Yeah, I think he finally really focused on strength and conditioning and striking. Because he was never a bad Muay Thai guy. Like, he always had good knees, good kicks. I think he's just trusting it now because now what are you going to do, take him down? If he starts beating you up, you're going to take him down? It's like, well, good luck with that. So now I think he's finally really trusting that striking. And I think he's got the cardio and the endurance to kind of back that up. Because, for example, when I fought him, he was a bat out of hell. Came at me, kicking me, took me down. Way stronger than I thought, too, being a 45er moving up. That really threw me off. So when you see him in there with these guys like Tony, and he's kind of controlling them, he's way stronger than I even gave him credit for. And I think he's built on that even more after that fight because he gassed out, and that's ultimately how I got the finish. Because I felt him kind of wilting on the ground because he throws up so many submissions over and over again. If you don't get them, kind of breaks you mentally and physically a little bit. But I think he's kind of checked those boxes off. And I follow him on Instagram and stuff, and you see him always doing sprints, doing pad work, sprints and pad work, lifting weights. So I think committing himself to that end of the game has really helped him out.
I feel like he used to be a front runner. Like if he was in front, like you know what I mean.
He would smash you, yeah, get you, catch you.
As soon as you make him question himself, like he would break.
Anthony Pettis did it to him as well when he fought him, and a lot of guys, yeah. If you got through that storm in the beginning, the tide would turn, and you could, no, now he's scrapping. He's scrapping now, yeah.
So after feeling his strength, you see that arm bar that Tony got.
I mean, you can say whatever you want about Tony, but that dude is a fighter through and through. I mean, I don't know what I would have done in that position. First of all, I have no flexibility in my elbows. So my arm would have snapped and popped and been twisted around my back. So I wouldn't have had a choice. The ref would have stopped it. But, I mean, the durability and the toughness mentally on that guy is insane. Insane.
You have a triathlon coming up in March, right? Are you still
I'm supposed to race, Challenge Miami. It's a half Ironman in March, but we'll see. We'll see if it's still on by the time it comes around. I don't know with everything that's going on. So far, I haven't gotten any notifications that it's off, and hopefully I can get my foot rested up and get back to running a little bit. But right now, I think I pulled a muscle on the side of my foot because I run like an idiot, and with no form whatsoever. Just tell me to run 2 hours, I'll run 2 hours, and I'm probably hobbling like this the whole time. But hopefully it happens. If it doesn't happen, there's one in St. George. Is that in Wyoming? Is there a St. George in Wyoming? Utah, right? Yeah, I'm gonna. That's another one I'm looking at because the guy that I kind of look up to as a triathlete, the guy Lionel Sanders from Canada, that's his favorite course, and he's like, you get your ass down over there, and I was like, it's at altitude. He's like, it's not that much, you'll be fine. I'm like, you're a professional triathlete, bro. I'm gonna be puking off the bike and not rehydrating. So we'll see. I'm either fighting or doing a triathlon. So yeah, we'll see.
Russell Westbrook said what changed his career was relearning how to run properly.
Yeah, and I have been trying to. Like I really have. I watch videos on my form, and I'm on more on the midfoot and like the ball on my foot. I used to run just stomping on my heels and just pushing forward, and now I'm trying to get some proper form. But the bike is where I really feel I could do damage in a race. Not with any real triathletes. Maybe the 50-year-old guy next to me, but unless he's been cycling since he was a kid, then he'll smack me. But yeah, the bike is the funnest part for me right now because it's just, and that's what I'll continue into my MMA training. I'll ease off. It's like, say I book a fight, I'll ease off of the running a little bit because it does a lot of damage to your joints and stuff. But that bike, you can do so many different workouts, so many different ways, long workouts to get the fat down, to get your weight down. And then, you know, VO2 max kind of workouts where you're just, I did a workout the other day where I was the whole time just drooling because I couldn't get a proper breath in while I was doing it. So, obsessed with it. Obsessed.
I just talked about your record earlier. You know, you alluded to the Hook fight and everyone
Yeah.
saw that a different way. The split decision losses on your record, there's like 4 of them out of the 6.
Yeah.
Like, how anxious are you when it goes to the judges? Like, what's your feelings on those situations?
Well, let's be honest. One of them was a gift from God that it was a split decision against RDA. I mean, that was that was not a split decision. I got handled. I mean, I put on a good performance for what I did, but when I heard that, I was like, "Am I gonna? I'm gonna sneak out of here because he's gonna want to fight me again if I pull off this decision." But yeah, and that's where when people criticize me, it's like, man, you don't really beat me, you just kind of make it to the bell and have outpointed me. You know, if we went, like, look at all of those split decisions, right? Add 3 more rounds onto those fights, and who do you think wins? I'm asking you dead honestly, who do you think wins all of those split decisions, even that last one? Give me 3 more rounds, and I'll finish him. Dan, give me 3 more rounds. He's done. Ross Pearson, definitely 3 more rounds. I love Ross, but, you know, I feel like I should have won that fight, but I took that one on stupid notice after the Edson fight. So, and the Edson fight, another one. Nothing but love for Edson. But if we had 2 more rounds, he was a little tired in that fight. So,
Might vary the other one.
well, that one I might have lost, right? Because even though he was tired, I had no arm. It was if I had thrown any more spinning back fists in that one, it might have just started dangling from, you know, completely. But yeah, so, you know, I'll always look back and, you know, I fought some of the best guys, and nobody really. Trinaldo was the only one, and it was because of a giant gash that he put in my head. So I'll take it.
So is it fair if we say Paul Felder is calling for 8-round main events?
Oh, God, yeah, my mom will kill me. She'll be like, "You're going to the hospital after 3 sometimes. What do you need 8 for?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to beat them, Mom." She's like, "Yeah, and you're going to be the one in the hospital. You'll end up knocking that guy out. He'll get scanned and be fine. You'll be the one with a punctured lung, a broken arm, and some stitches in your head." So, but yeah, but I still feel fresh. You know, I don't feel like I've got any kind of damage. I know there's been some stuff in the media recently with other things, and yeah, I'll know when I've had enough. I'll know.
Did you read that Spencer Fisher article?
I looked into some of it, yeah, and it's really sad, man. But we do know as fighters what we're getting ourselves into. You know, it's a contact sport, and there's plenty of concussions from what we take. But I always tell my family, I'm like, you know, if you ever notice anything, if I ever seem like I'm slipping, and do not hold back, tell me, because I'll walk away right then and there. I'll hang up the gloves because I got a daughter, and I want to be talking to her. So, and dementia runs in my family, so I don't need it to get kick-started. Anyway.
All good? Good. Perfect. Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Sorry I rambled on a little bit today.
All good.
I got this coffee.